Hello, my name is Michael, and I am the other half of Uplift Stitches along with Melanie. Today is January 24th, Saturday, and this is a Flosstube Extra. So I've had a few people reach out to me and wanting kind of a walkthrough of how to fill out the sheet I created for the challenge, just the first time through. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today. And there's a few new things on the website that I wanted to cover very briefly, and I also have some questions for you guys. So just bear with me. So the first thing I wanted to cover here is you can see on the web page here, I have a split screen. The left side is a sheet I will talk about in a little bit. That's kind of how I'm tracking my stats. But the one on the right here is where I wanted to talk a little bit about. This is our website that I created to kind of talk about some of the challenges. It has some of the challenges and sales that we typically host or been a part of, and then also some chart customizations. But really what I wanted to talk about, there's a couple new things. One of these, I created a sheet option for people who are prolific stitchers. So this is if you're 30 to 60,000 stitches a month. There are some people who do that, and this will accommodate those people to join the challenge as well. So I have this on here. I will link to the website, and I can probably put direct links here to this form as well. And there was a minor error in the RPG character sheet that I sent out. I caught it as I was creating the Prolific Stitcher Edition version. It was a very small error on the stats when you're creating the stats, so it would be a few months out anyway. And it really probably wouldn't have affected most people because it was a low end. So unless you're stitching like only 1,000 stitches a month, which is possible, it might have affected you. It actually would have affected you in your favor. Would have given you a higher stat for that month than you would have necessarily got, but that's been corrected. So I linked the updated sheet here as well as the Prolific Stitcher Edition. So either of those are interested to you, you can go ahead and go to the website and download those, or like I said, I could probably put the link below. So the other thing that I'm going to talk about though is I'm going to actually walk through how to fill out the form. So give me a moment while I bring up my actual character challenge sheet that I created, and I'll kind of walk through that now. Alright, so I brought up the cross-stitch D&D character creator. I brought an example sheet up. And then this sheet on the left here that you're seeing, this is, I haven't shared this. This is just my own way of tracking my stats. I'm sure most of you have, who track stats have your own system in place. Though if there's some interest in this, I can put it, but it's nothing fancy. It just tracks, sometimes months spread out over 5 weeks. So I have 5-week totals there, and then I have my daily stitch count for the different projects I'm working on. And then down below, just so that I can kind of keep the year, I put a tracker for the year for each project, so I can kind of keep track of that throughout the year. And then this is really kind of what I created for me to break it down by categories. So I have like a column for sales, any projects that are those, the challenges, the in-season, out-season, and then my oldest whip, which I have not stitched on. My oldest whip is Kringle's Flying Academy, which I did not stitch on this month. So these are the categories. You can see they correspond to the different areas over here that you need a stitch count for. So all I would need to do is add, take the total down here for sales. So this is 28.26 for the month. And then I would put that over here. So I'll go ahead and do that. So 2826, enter. You can see I've already have 75 points towards my sal. Now these stats are not going to be quite complete because it's not quite the end of the month, but this will give you an idea. For challenges, I really only had the one challenge. The Tree of Yggdrasil is part of this challenge that I'm doing now, but it's also part of the Threadwalker Saga, Steph at Wild Fox Stitchery, which I can link her below as well. But that's I'm using this for her sal, and I actually got quite a bit of stitching on it this month. So for challenges, I actually had 2297, so I'll go ahead and enter that there. Now you can see I have 60 points for that, which brings me up to 135. For in-season, I actually have a fair bit, so I had 4,283, so I'll enter those numbers here, 4,283, enter. I'm now at 275 points. And then for out of season, I had only 840. And then I have 0 for my oldest whip because I didn't stitch on it. So this is what my point total is. And then for the next part, you don't actually need thread counts. You just need to count your projects. So I didn't have any barely started. I had 0 of those. But I did have 1 new start, which is my tree of life, Yggdrasil tree. That is a new start. So I have 1 of those, which actually is going to reduce my total by 15. But I also did have a finish. My rainy weather one was actually a finish, which I actually don't think I put the stitch count in there on that, which is interesting. So that should be 306. I missed that. That's my fault. So 306, it's not in season, so it would be out of season. It was not part of any of those. So I actually add 306 to out of season. So that would be 1146. So 1146. I'm not sure how I missed that. So you can see that did up my total. I'm at 290 points. Like I said, I did have the 1 finished, so I go ahead and put that here. And that kind of counteracts a new start. So if you have a finish and a new start, you're going to get 5 points as opposed to minus 15. So that does help. And then I had 0 full finishes. I didn't fully finish anything in January. So this is my current point total. It's 310. So if I go over to the score for the month, you'll take this month point total and you put this in your score. So I put this here and hit enter. And you can see I would be an elf right now if I ended the month today. This over on the right, you'll see it gives you some information about the elf. Some of these things won't make as much sense to you. Alignment, most awful good. That you can actually decide your own alignment. I didn't make any decisions on that. This just tells you a little bit of information. If you're going to play D&D, these will make more sense to you. But this tells you a little bit about what that race is like in D&D. I thought about putting a little background history for each of these. I just ran out of time. That might be something I add in the future, just a background lore about the different races that you could be. So that's really all there is to filling it out. Once you have this total entered for 310, you can go over here and reset all these. So you just highlight all of those, and you hit your delete button, and it takes your point total back to 0 for the month. And this is all set then. So that's really all there is to filling it out. It's not super complicated. You can see you kind of double dip a little bit on some of these points. So like in season, out of season, as well as challenges and sales. Even if something is necessarily both, I personally don't count it for a sal and a challenge. Tree of Yggdrasil is technically part of the sal I'm running, as well as the challenge that Steph is doing at Wild Fox Stitchery. I just counted it for one of those because I felt like that was too much double dipping. But it's really up to you. That might, if you do too much double dipping, it could break it a little bit. You might need to get use the bigger stitch count one. But this is kind of how it works. So I actually had I did have a question for you as well. I know there's a lot of people like to share, what they've been stitching on for sales, or maybe in this case you might share what kind of character you're getting each month. I didn't know if there was interest in a Facebook group at all. If that's something, I could definitely set one up. I've never managed one before, but it's not super complicated. But if there is interest in that, I didn't do a Facebook group only because I know not everybody has Facebook, and I didn't want people to feel like they had to be a part of a Facebook group to be part of this challenge. But if that is something you're interested, just let me know, and I can see about creating a Facebook group. So I hope this one is helpful to you when you're filling out your sheet to see how kind of I did it and how it works. As always, like, these rules are kind of a little bit loose. You could bend them if something else works better for you, as far as counting. If you want to double dip and count both, one particular project for both challenges and challenges and sals, or if you wanted to do in season, out of season, like Yggdrasil could have fit in both of those. I also chose not to do it in one season. So that's really all there is to it. I will say that I have some ideas for more of a thematic version of this challenge for next year, kind of based along different types of projects or different themes. But I also actually have another idea that I might develop depending on how well it moves along in the next few months. I might do that one instead, possibly. It's more of an interactive challenge, so we'll see how that goes. That's just kind of a brief preview of something I'm working on. It's a RPG. It's along the lines of an RPG, but it is yeah. That's all I'll say for now until I actually get more of the details and see how it actually plays out on here. It's going to take a little bit more work on a spreadsheet, and it's going to be a little trickier. So we'll see how it develops. If that one doesn't develop like I'm hoping, certainly the thematic one of these will probably be easier to do for next year, and I can hopefully make some improvements. If I need to make 3 different versions, one for a lower stitch count, one for a kind of a middle stitch count, and then the prolific one, I can do that as well. So if you have any questions or have any feedback for me on this challenge, things that are working, things that are not working, I do have a form on the website that you can fill out, or you can just message me on Instagram, and I'm Great Tree Games on there as well. So feel free to reach out to me and let me know if there's any problems with the sheet, because definitely that's the only way I can make it better or improve it or fix issues with the sheet. If you guys let me know. So I hope you're enjoying this cold January day. It's actually snowing here, and it's supposed to snow for the next day. So until next time, I will see you later, and hope you're having a good January. And I think we'll be back in our next our usual Flosstube in a little over a week from now. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Love you.